So with that being said, I'm very excited. I'd love to have Diane and Kathy and Chloe come to the stage, and we're going to talk about Sisters in Symphony, which is going to be incredible. We chose Sisters in Symphony for a couple of reasons. One is symphony is another word of collaboration, right? When you work in a symphony, when you hear a symphony, when you hear a band, we all know how music moves us, right? And then you have these incredible women making waves in this incredible industry, and always have been, and always have been. And we're going to hear that today. I know that when Desi was talking, she's like, man, there's like, between the three of you, you've got this incredible spread of history and time playing in the realms of music. We also know that we just talked about, these two, I guess, as Stephanie was saying, kids doing things for the betterment of the planet, right? And that music itself, I think actually that's what I wrote about on my page 262, is that music was like my therapist. And I don't think there's anyone I've ever talked to that hasn't said that music has moved or changed their life. It's one of the things that I think gives breath to so many things. So I would like to professionally and personally invite everyone to listen to these three incredible women talk about their lives in music. And so Diane Durrett, if you want to just kind of give a wave, because some people have it in view and they can't see, is the president of the Recording Academy for Atlanta, Georgia. She is a producer, engineer, singer, and songwriter, and has been recording for 30 years. Last we talked, you had created 9 albums. I don't know if there's anything more in the hop. And you are a strong believer in building community. And then we have Miss Kathy Bushnell, a OG of this whole 262 project. And Kathy has made history as co-founder of Britain's first female rock duo, Emily Muff, performing alongside legends like Deep Purple and Yes. She is inspiring readers with her memoir of Em and Muff she's hoping and looking right now to have turned into a movie. And then, of course, yay Vancouver, yay Canada in the house. We just talked about that with Drake. Chloe Morgan, a London-born singer and DJ, rose to fame Viva Pop Stars, The Rivals signed with Warner Brothers, and now electrifies crowds from Vancouver to all over the world. Has received a Golden Owl Award, winning for being a DJ and a producer. So welcome to the 262 Summit. Yay, ladies. Let's just do a round for that. Woo! All right. So look, I'm going to ask you some questions, and we'll just kind of go round robin with this. And please add in anything that you would like to say or share. But, music has been a part of a lot of people's lives, and some very much so, but they never turned it into a career or never turned it into that next step. And so let's start with you, Diane. What was the moment you knew that music was that for you? Like, it was not just, I love it, but it was a passion strong enough to turn into a career.
Well, first of all, I really enjoyed the time before with Ocean and Charlie. That was awesome. The first that I knew, it was a calling for me, a very spiritual experience. And I had already been, I'm from the South, Atlanta. You probably hear my accent. But I had been, my mother was a choir director. So I was already singing solos in church and that kind of thing. But when I was 17, Amy Grant, I was at a music festival and Amy Grant was singing, and I was trying to decide where I was going to head because I was right at that moment in life, high school to college moment. And I just walked through the crowd and I could hear her singing, and I was asking Spirit, what is this really what I should do? And I just had this resounding yes within my heart and soul. And that was the beginning of taking it to a professional level.
Wow. And tell me, I did say 9 albums. So why don't we throw in there, how long have you been in your career? I mean, you're still rocking it out, girl.
Right. I mean, I'm recording right now. I'm the president of the Recording Academy in Atlanta, which is best known for the Grammys. and we have different chapters. That's sort of my community part, but I'm also producing other people and working on a new album right now. Yeah.
Right on. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And Miss Kathy, let's ask you, what was that moment? I mean, I've read the book, read the book, given the book, keep giving the book away and keep getting to get more from you. But what was the moment that you knew?
Well, actually was a moment that I knew. And I was sitting in the living room with my parents and my brother around the TV, and we were watching the Beatles on the Ed Sullivan Show. That was their first appearance on TV in America. And I said privately to myself, I want to play electric guitar. I want to write songs and sing harmonies, and I want to be a rock musician. And that's when I knew.
Wow, there it is. There it is. We've got to tell us a little bit about this book. What was it? What was it about writing this book? There's some great stories in there. But tell us just a little bit about the book and why you decided to write your memoir.
Well, I wrote it, I toured in Britain from 68 to 72. So fast forward quite a few decades to 2020, I published my book called M and Moo, EM and MOO. But we were given a kind of a racy name, Emily Muff, and my Janet, who was co-founder with me of our trailblazing female rock duo, she and I didn't, we were so naive, we didn't know this, what the slang for muff meant. It was, that way. And so the band that we ended up opening concerts for gave us the nickname MEM and Moo, MOO. So I became Moo, a little bit of a bovine connotation, which is fine. But so that's what I decided to name my memoir about. And it takes readers along a journey with us. I'm writing it as though the readers are right next to me, and I'm very upfront and honest with all the ups and downs.
Right on. Thank you so much. And Chloe, what about you? What was the moment that you knew that music was your passion? You were in a group and then you went on your way. So maybe tell us about those two moments.
Yeah. I mean, I've been on stage since I was 5 years old. So I always knew that that was my passion. Like I always, even though my mum definitely pushed me into it, but she obviously saw in me that I enjoyed doing it. But I think for me, it was like, there was a moment too, like where you just like, this is what I'm meant to do. And I remember watching Whitney Houston and the Bodyguard sing I'll Always Love You. And I just remember at that moment just being like, this is what I want to do. This is what, this is it. And so there was definitely that moment there. And then I think just as time has gone on, it's just progressed, into really in the end, instead of what I want, kind of really kind of shaping it into what God wants for me. And kind of because you can still do what you love doing, but doing it not just for yourself at the end of the day, and I think that's where I think I've been continuing to grow into who I am as an artist, in more in the shape of how God sees me rather than how I see myself.
Beautiful. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's interesting that you all had what I would say a spiritual moment or a knowingness or something came to you. You watched the show, I want to do that. And we were talking earlier about those voices. Sometimes they're a whisper and sometimes they're really loud. And it's about knowing which voice, right? Which one is that intuitive to listen to and continue with. So, you've obviously have all been seasoned. You have learned many lessons. This may be more of a bit of a difficult question, but what was a skill that you felt you really needed? Non-negotiable. There's different skills that you've needed for certain things that you've had to do. But what is it as an overall, stepping into this as an industry, Diane, you felt that you really needed to learn to be able to get to where you are right now?
Well, for me, it has been being able to pivot when whatever comes your way, and just for my lifespan in the industry of music, there's been so much change in technology.
Mm.
So from, tape to digital to, I mean, now we're, to the internet to now we're going into AI. I mean, this has been a journey of pivoting.
Yeah.
And then add, where everything was shut down during our live performance. So I think that it's the important statement, or that we could all use, even in other industries, is just knowing, still following your passion and spirit, but also being willing to learn and pivot.
That's
Yeah,
good.
very well said. Well said. And for Kathy, what about yourself? A skill that you needed?
I learned sort of from experience. I was touring throughout the UK, and what I come away with that was about how it's the importance of being very professional. And if you want to be taken seriously by rock stars, I was hanging out and in recording sessions with the Stones and other iconic, rock stars. And if you want them to respect you and treat you as a fellow female musician, then it's very important that you not only act like one, you can kind of start acting, like one when you first start out, but then it becomes natural. And so becomes a really respectful rapport. So I definitely would use two words, and one is be professional and be respectful.
Good.
Very well said.
Yeah.
And Chloe, what about for you?
Yeah, they're both really good answers, actually.
Yeah.
They were great. For me, it would definitely be more the business side as well, because um, it is a music business. And I think a lot of uh artists and or people getting into it, they're really talented and they really focus on the talent side of stuff, that is mostly the business side of stuff, to actually be able to execute the talent correctly. And for me, I was in a group, and it was more like hands-on from management, handling things, and us not knowing anything, which wasn't great, because you're not learning anything, you're just showing up, and I think that's, if you're not actually involved in the behind the scenes stuff of actually really know, it's just becomes a very confusing. So for me, kind of relearning everything by starting again from scratch as a solo artist and doing everything myself. I've learned so much in this journey, this far, and I've still got way more to learn, and continue to grow in the business side of things, and as an artist, which will only help me become a better artist. I mean, even literally the other day or yesterday, I've been hired for a gig for like a year. So they hired me for it just happened, the gig, and they've rehired me for next year. But the woman was really gracious enough to be like, hey, here's some business advice on this. This will help you a little bit more. And I just really appreciated the feedback, because a lot of people, they just, they'll see something and they won't say anything, and then they'll have an attitude instead. But it was like, here's a way that you could grow a little bit more, and that's going to help you. And I was like, thanks so much for the feedback. I'm definitely going to apply that moving forward, because yes, that's a great thing to reflect upon. So I think, and being humble enough, right? That's another thing too. It's being humble enough to able to take the criticism, because if it's productive, and not see it as a bad thing. It's another point of growth. So yeah, just having the humility as well in that, and not always, yeah, it's just always being in sort of that standpoint of like, I'm learning, and thank you, gratitude.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Thank you so much. I mean, we're learning so much. So much of what you're saying is not only important because music is a part of this huge, incredible field of creatives, right? And many of the things that you're saying are what creatives experience. And then entrepreneurship in its own self is a form of creativity, right? And there's so many things to learn, unforeseen, The fun of unforeseen. There you go. There's a book title. Um, let's talk about a moment. I'm sure you've had many. Some of us that have been around more than a week have get the pleasure. I mean, I think it's what happens, so it keeps us going. The pleasure of having really beautiful moments that it was like, wow, like I never saw that coming. I didn't think I'd meet that person. Hey, girlfriend. I, you know, I can't believe that I would sit in the same room as the Stones. I like those kind of things that could have been magical moments for you. Diane, what's one or two that have happened for you that have been like, thank you?
Well, one was I wrote a motivational song with my friend Jane Olderman, and I got to sing it at the Trans World Dome for 30,000 people. And but the fun of that was it was they half-housed the stadium, and we had to run to the 50-yard line before I had to run on stage to go sing. So had to catch my breath there. But that was a big one. And singing with Greg Almond, and I've also sung with Sting. Sting, that was a very amazing moment. So those would be the
Wow,
highlight. Yeah.
some highlights. We all need highlights. And what about for you? Thanks, Diane. Kathy.
Um, well, it was also when I was playing, I had the opportunity to open and close a concert at London's Royal Albert Hall. It wasn't to 30,000, but it was to 5,000 back in 1971, December. And so it was such an honor. And remember, we were just a duo, not just, but it was only the two of us. And the stage at the Royal Albert Hall is humongous, and the box, you know, the boxes go way up, to the topmost tier, and our music was just soaring throughout this iconic venue. And it was one of the most incredible moments of my life. And a lot of rock stars, have played, like the Beatles, the Cream, and Jimi Hendrix played at Albert Hall too. Those are just a few, but I mean, people are still playing there. And it's just a wonderful experience. And when people find out that, oh, you played the Royal Albert Hall, oh, and that kind of changes their view of me. And it was just such, you know, an honor to be at that iconic Royal Albert Hall. And one last thing quickly, and that I went on a tour when I was visiting London about 8 years ago, and I decided to pop off the bus and take the Royal Albert Hall tour. So we're up at the very top tier on this tour, and the woman said, well, now you can see where artists and musicians played. And I raised my hand and said, well, actually, I played a concert here. What, and it was just wonderful for me to see it from the topmost tier, what I looked like on the would have looked like on the stage. So it was a wonderful experience.
Oh my gosh, what a full circle moment. What a full circle moment. Hang in there, people. Hang in there. And Chloe, what about you? Some magical moments, some worth it moments. Oh, you're muted for some reason. All of a sudden you got muted? All right, let's unmute Chloe. Let me just all right.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I actually I muted because I was talking to my daughter and
Oh, okay.
sorry
Yes.
about that.
Okay.
So okay, some amazing moments. Well, there's definitely been a few, but one of them for sure would have to be when I was on the TV show performing to millions of people on there. I mean, obviously you're not seeing millions, you're just seeing the people in the like in the actual audience, but in your mind there's millions of people watching right now. So that was really like an amazing moment for sure. And then like, some of the festivals that I've done where I've been on stage with, shared stages with like Beyonce and Britney Spears and different lots of people in the industry. Yeah, just being on those like performing in front of thousands, like hundreds of thousands of people. So that I love being on stage. Like that's probably my favorite thing. And performing to huge crowds. Like I love it. It's definitely for me. And obviously, like, where we're heading, it's so cool to be able to have carved out my own path now, where I'm building those blocks for myself and seeing where it's going to go.
Beautiful. Wow. Um, Ladies, I'm going to ask kind of one last question because, the beautiful thing about life is that, sometimes we don't know at 5 that we want to do something. We don't know at, 20, 25, 30, 50. People change their careers all the time now. It's so accepted and so encouraged and so wanted. So what would you say to somebody if they wanted to get into your field? Like they made a decision that they wanted to get into your field. Feel free to give us your advice on getting into the field. What are some of the things someone should prepare to get in the field? How can someone be successful in the field of music? So Diane, we'll start with you.
Well, I would say if you're wanting to be a singer, to get some training, if that always helps. To even if you're a great singer, sometimes you need to learn a little bit about taking care of your voice technically. But as being an artist, I'm an independent artist. I would say to just start booking those gigs. I mean, if it's the church, if it's the, club, start to get out there, and that way you get more experience and become more of a professional as you put it together, as you continue on.
Very cool. Thank you so much. Kathy?
I would say that one of the reasons I wrote my memoir was because we actually met what's called the casting couch scenario when we went to sign a record deal with a world famous record company. And he was very sleazy and it was very insulting. And so we got up and walked out. We stormed out of his office because we knew we were not going to compromise our principles in exchange for a record deal. And so you need to decide and kind of learn what you are willing to do and not willing to do. Think about it, because you never know what's going to happen or you're going to be confronted with. And so really, one of the reasons I wrote my memoir was to live your dreams without compromising your principles. And also to never give up, because when that happened and we, were shocked and we left, and our manager didn't go in the room with us, which we were shocked. So we didn't even know if that was part of the plan or he was in on it. We didn't know. And he broke up with our duo out on the street that day. But you know something? That whole thing that happened to me inspired me to have more determination and to not give up and not let anything stop me. And that is also what I would say to people. Don't give up. Keep going.
Yeah.
Right on, sister. Right on, sister. I saw everybody nodding times 10, right? And look, I think those kind of decisions, that there's bravery involved in every step of entrepreneurship. There's bravery involved in everything going forward. And that stuff gets tough stuff. That stuff gets tough stuff. So courage, bravery. I always, in the beginning of the book, you'll see it's bravery is love, because it can be tough. So thank you. And Chloe, what about for yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's no one size fits all. There's no like playbook of like, this is how you get from this to this. I think you can learn from experience from people, and there's definitely, you take the experience of what others, if they give you advice and those kind of things. But I think everybody is on their own journey, and it's very unique to that person. But I just think you really have to know who you are at the end of the day, which all comes down to, again, what decisions you're going to make, what your decisions you're not going to make. Like once you know who you are, you're not going to compromise, as Kathy was talking about, because you've already made the decision, this is actually who I am, and nothing's going to waver me from, the position of my core identity. And from that, following spirit, following, the call that's been placed upon your life, I think those doors just naturally open. So I think if you are on the right call for yourself, like those doors will, whatever where you're meant to go, it is going to happen. You just have to walk. You just have to be disciplined to put in the work that you know you're meant to be doing. Like, you know, if you're a singer, go get lessons, train, all that. Just be prepared. Be prepared for, and be ready for those doors when they open. I think it's really, really important. And I'm actually preaching to the choir, I'm sure, right now, and myself, because even in myself, I'm like, okay, you know, get back, you know, start practicing. Because I'm, you know, definitely for me, I'm more a DJ singer, you know, now. And I noticed too, like, okay, those are the doors that naturally open for me. It's not just the singing, it's always through the DJ avenue. So it's like also looking at like what doors are opening, and sort of not not all being accustomed to like it had to be this certain way, and just being a little bit more open to being like, okay, maybe it's this route that, you know, is going to get me to where the, you know, the next step and the next step, and writing that book, and, you know, delivering that message of hope, of, you know, whatever it's going to be. um but yeah, I just think it's you just becoming really in tune, and being in tune is, and being ready is really important.
Oh my goodness, there's been so much brilliant information. There's one thing I love about panels is the variety of context of empowerment. And that's exactly what happened here today. So grateful. Ladies, I know that after we kind of close your panel, you're going to put all of your information in the chat so we can follow. I mean, the whole idea around Sisters in Symphony and having music panels today and tomorrow is to be able to be inspired, but also the beautiful thing about creativity and our goal of solidarity and empowerment and having women on the forefront and moving forward and doing things is that I love that there's 3 different real stories here, but that there's very similar actions that are taken. And I loved, Chloe, that you added in there about doing the work. Do you know what I mean? Like, doors open, but do the work. Listen to what's going on and do the work. Break barriers. I mean, Kathy, breaking barriers, doing things that might feel uncomfortable, like moving forward, saying what you need to say and doing what you need to do. And we're a big supporter of women in music. We're a big supporter of women in print. We're a big supporter of entrepreneurs and all of that. So we really thank you for taking time to share that, because we know, and it sounds so Hallmark. I'm like, I say it, I'm going to work on finding a different way to say this, but it really is that one moment, that one word that someone hears that actually people go, it changed my life. And I go, it probably gave you permission. Mm-hmm. Like when women share stories, it gives other people permission. You don't even have to be doing the same thing. There's something about someone else's story that opens up a door. And that was absolutely brilliant. And for everybody else, you're going to have to wait until this book is released, because Diane has come in, but Chloe's in the book, Diane's in the book, Kathy's in the book. A lot of our incredible women in music for tomorrow's panel are in the book. I think every single one of them. And they're going to put their information below. So please support women in music, make those decisions, support their Instagram, support what they're doing out there. But also, you know, concert tickets, right? Going to see concerts, supporting music, getting out. You come home at 7 o'clock, get back out and go see some music and some live music, and read the books and read the memoirs and watch the musics and make the comments and all of that. I know we had a panel of women in film. They're like, please go to the theater, you know? So please get up and get out and go support. So ladies, is there any of you that have anything else to say before we close out?
Just thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
We appreciate it. I personally just appreciate all the positive energy that you're putting out, and we all need each other. So thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. So let's do some hearts and some clapping, and Stephanie, I'm going to pass it over to you for some feedback from someone who's got a musician in their life.
Just going to say that was so good. I mean, Chloe, Kathy, Diane, thank you. Yeah, I'm in a relationship with a musician. It's been 4.5 years. And Deb, what you said, like just the follow, just the going to see you live, the purchasing the ticket. Like, I know it means everything to him, and it means a lot. Like, music is, it's art, it's love, it's everything. I mean, ask someone what they were doing when they had their first kiss or what, and people will go right to the music. What were they listening to? And we have to support the arts. So, I don't know if we have time, but if any of you want to say, like, what's the thing, if you're in love with an artist, if you are a partner to an artist, because artists are very soulful, you guys get it straight from source. Emotions can go from here to here, back up to here in one day, right? You're channeling music, you're channeling words, you're channeling lyrics. If you have any advice for those of us who love an artist, we could maybe end on that really quick, like speed round.
Oh, there's a question. All right. I want to hear this. Does anyone want to answer to that, Kathy? If someone was in love with a musician, if someone was in love with someone that did what you did for a business, what would be good for them to know?
I think be flexible. Be flexible. And don't judge when you hear the first part of when they're in the creative process. Don't judge early. Wait till you hear, let it go through its motions. It's nice to be able to give a little feedback, but I think that just being open-minded and flexible, and it's sometimes a difficult position to be in, but I think that's, if you can use that on a lot of instances, you probably have a happier relationship.
That's great.
I think being supportive is another thing, just like emotionally supportive, and just, yeah, I mean, just showing up really for that person, because we're putting our art out into the world. And not to say that it's wonderful for your partner to be like your cheerleader in a way. Not that you need to have a cheerleader, you can cheerlead yourself, but it is nice, it is wonderful to have that support of, that someone that is like, I believe in you, I'm standing here with you and supporting you. And it's just, that means a lot, because I've had both in one end and the other. So the support is huge.
Right on. Great. And Kathy, do you want to finish off? Thank you.
I just have one thing to add to that, and that has to do with what Chloe was saying about keeping your own, make sure to support your musician partner, but also to retain your own identity. That's very, very important, and your interests and what you want to do.
Yeah, right on. Okay,
that's great.
Yeah,
thank you.
One wrap. That was so beautiful. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Thank you for being with us. And